I did not ask, I would not see anybody who knocked the door where I was to say, what are you speaking or what are you talking with our suspects? I did not see. I walked out after 2 hours, having had a joyful conversation with Anita. I went because she's a friend. She's our leader. When people in their low moments in these times, it's a good manners, it's humane to go and ask them, these things I'm reading, these things I am seeing, are they true? Do you need any assistance, support? Could be just psychological. That's why I went there. And I found out...
What an irony that at the same time you also went to Oboth celebration.
No. Oboth, again, secondary ignorance. Oboth, if you don't know, Oboth came to Parliament in 2011. I am among the people who urged him to come to politics. I actually supported him with money. When he won, Oboth is actually my MP, has been my MP since that time, that area of Mwenda. He has been my MP. I support him, including this election. 3.
So you have divided loyalty?
No.
When Commander...
Yes.
When Commander asked...
Listen. Oboth is also my son-in-law. He marries my daughter, if you don't know. But we separate social issues from public political issues, if you didn't know. I don't have double loyalty. When I was supporting Among, I've given you the first reason. But the second, other people have urged him. In that context, I cannot support somebody who has not said, I want to be speaker. The day he says he wants to be speaker, and as I've said, the times are short. Only 2 days. We'll have only tomorrow and Saturday. And Sunday. If at that time Oboth expresses his interest, and indeed NRM reviews its earlier position and brings him, then my views will be documented in the caucus of Sunday.
It's been so exciting seeing a Rolls Royce being taken around town, the display of Anita's wealth. What is the real story of how tables...
In a convergence of two different but compatible pursuits. I believe that President Museveni is trying to clip the wings of Anita Among, whom or in whose growing political influence in the state and in the NRM demonstrates that she has built capability to threaten his power. Then there is General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is personally revolted by public exhibitions of extreme wealth and luxury by public officials, and he would like to punish that kind of behavior. So those are two different, but they are compatible and self-reinforcing interests. So I want to come to deal with the
real story.
Yes. I believe that Museveni, yes, I wrote an article on the 21st of March, 2026, this year, in the Independent. It's called the Anita Among Dilemma. and this argument I was making, within 5 years of joining the NRM, Anita Among has achieved complete mastery of parliament. If you held an election for speaker today, Anita Among would get 485 votes, which we had counted out of 529, meaning only 44 MPs were not in her pocket. That is one. Two, using her influence on the Parliamentary Commission, she had used the Parliamentary Commission to give jobs to children, nephews, nieces of so many of Uganda's political, religious, and business elites. And therefore, she was able to secure, and Museveni will tell you this, she had acquired a lot of influence in the judiciary. And the fourth, I think, which was the most decisive and could have become her biggest problem, was in NRM. She was new to the NRM. She runs to be vice chairperson of the NRM Women's League against Kadaga, who had been there for 40 years in NRM. Kadaga had been speaker for 20 years, deputy speaker for 10, full speaker for 10. In that contest, which has a broad-based electoral college, you know, to be elected to that job, you have, the electoral college includes all chairpersons of LC3 across the country, all mayors of town councils, municipalities, and cities. Then you have to have all chairmen of LC5 and their councils. Then you have to have all MPs. You have to have all NRM leagues for women, for youth, for the disabled, for the elderly, for veterans. So this is the one job which requires you to build a political base across the whole country and across the different segments of society. In that election, Anita Among beat Kadaga by 93%. 93%. 93%. And for me, that was a sign that Museveni would not be comfortable with this kind of influence that Anita Among has. You have complete master of parliament. You have captured the entire NRM infrastructure. You have all these elite constituencies. You have one. You are powerful in the judiciary. Many people are saying she had started building constituencies in police and maybe security services. You don't never know. Now, I want us guys to put ourselves in Museveni's shoes. I have personally had a couple of conversations, I think twice, with Anita Among. And I went to her home to express to her also this specific concern, that you have grown too much influence and you're too powerful, and that would threaten Museveni. She said she is a very loyal Museveni person. She told me her story and said, this man Museveni made me. I can never go against him. I am inclined to believe that Anita Among was sincere and that she was very loyal to Museveni. Now, of course, I have to put myself in Museveni's shoes. Museveni is a power-maximizing political entrepreneur. He should be, and is a gorilla at the same time. He must be able to look at his threats in advance and neutralize them before they materialize. So for Museveni, first it is intentions. Assuming Museveni believes, like I do, that Anita Among is sincere, Museveni has to have caution. He says intentions, first of all, are difficult to know because they reside in our minds. I can lie that I'm loyal to you, and I will always be there for you when I'm not telling the truth. I'm just hoodwinking you. But let me assume that Museveni, like me, believes that Anita Among was sincere. Museveni will say, okay, the issue is really not Anita Among's intentions, it is Anita Among's capabilities. Because our capabilities can change our intentions. As this lady accumulates all this power and influence across the entire state machinery and the society, which is both NRM, which is a civic organization or a political organization, and these elite constituencies, these capabilities she's developing may in future tempt her to seek the presidency and threaten Museveni. So it is in Museveni's interest to clip her wings in time. Now, of course, there is an added thing there. You know, when you're in the government, and people who read these things, they may now go and manufacture fake intelligence and tell the president, now she has mobilized Ofono, now she's mobilized General so and so. They can also sell other stories. And Museveni may act on the basis of that intelligence also.
Yeah, but Andrew, if I could interject here, you seem to be making it more political. Yet, apparently, the narrative of illicit wealth and stacks of money seems to be carrying the day.
Well, you see, again, in 2024 April, I wrote an article. It's called the Museveni Anita Among Bromance. You should go and read it in the Independent, because these things are not new. It is you who is thinking they are new. I wrote at that time saying that, you see, Anita Among's problem is not that she was a thief or that she stole money. That is a small side effect of her management of parliament. Anita Among was taking a lot of money out of parliament, not for her personal use, but to help Museveni build a political base, to help Museveni pass legislation in the parliament. It was really a political slush fund. It is true she crimped off part of that money, a small percentage of it, to indulge herself in gorgeous mansions, in luxury dresses, and expensive cars. That is a temporary side effect. And now I understand human beings were driven by emotional stuff. The personal takes precedence. So when we are discussing corruption, you're much more concerned about her Rolls Royce, which was a gift I think given to her for free by somebody, if I'm not mistaken. She told me this is a gift. And by the way, I should tell you, it turns out that when somebody gave her that Rolls Royce, she informed the president, should I accept it? The president gave her, go ahead, you can accept it. Even though,
you find that credible?
I would not be surprised that if it were true. And Museveni even offered to pay taxes on it. By the way, I should tell you, Museveni is a much more sophisticated political animal than people think. Remember, Museveni is a gorilla. And Museveni, if you want to know him, is like Lucius Cornelius Sulla, an ancient Roman statesman. He's half fox, he's half lion, half fox. But the fox in him is more dangerous than the lion. So,
remember 2024, the president told the world when these accusations emerged, he actually told the world that he is the one who gave Anita the first big cash, 2 billion. Do you remember that? And he said, I also gave her 200 herds of cattle. And I've returned to her home in Bukedia, and she now has 2,000, meaning she was a good herdsman. And then the president said, he also gave other people, he mentioned them and said, they don't have those cows. And so in his view, he said,
so to continue with my,
so I just want
the point I was making.
To believe that it's possible that the president actually gave a nod that this vehicle, and the president has, you remember when we had the dispute over Chagulanyi's
bulletproof?
Bulletproof? Did it? Who cleared it?
So anyway, Museveni is a much more sophisticated and complicated personality. That's why he has run this country for 40 years, yet no president had ever succeeded in doing more than 8 years. So what happens is that I think the issue, therefore, was not her wealth, her ostentatious exhibition of luxury living was used, and I predicted it in 2024. You should read my article, the Museveni Anita Among bromance, that this was her luxurious living was a rope she had given Museveni to hang her. Now, there are two aspects of that rope, in the sense that she could have done those things because she has an unrestrained appetite for luxury. But she could also have done them to say, look, me, I am very vulnerable. Anytime you want, you can take me, in which case you are secure. You get what I'm saying? So, to that degree, I felt that this intervention on the part of Museveni, his driving motive is that this person has become very strong and her wings need to be clipped.
So it is about decimating a powerhouse.
Yes. Now let me ask, if you talk about corruption, I mean, how many people have stolen big money in Uganda here? 10 times more than anything Anita could have stolen. How much is those? Let me assume each of those cars is $500,000, because the Rolls Royce is $1 million. Now these Land Cruisers I'm seeing are maybe $250,000. So let me assume her entire fleet is $2 million. Those houses of ours, let me assume they're $20 million, all of them. How much money is that? But there are people who have taken out of this country much, much more money than that. They have never been attacked. So I think Anita Among made one big mistake. It's not that she stole money, it is that she accumulated a lot of power and influence, both in the state institutions, but also in civic institutions like the party and these elite societies, where she was able to secure a lot of loyalty.
So she's a victim of ambition.
She's a victim of her own success. The final thing I wanted to tell you, Simon, is that more than the money, I think Anita Among's greatest asset, me studying her, was her personality. Anita Among is one of the most skilled human beings in winning over people. Not with money, but with empathy and with understanding. I have a young friend, he's called Brian Kaboyo from Hoima there. He was the mayor of Hoima. I think he was defeated in the last election. He was telling me recently that when he lost the election, Anita Among picked the phone and called him. This is an ordinary mayor in Hoima, to sympathize and empathize with his loss. count how many people among could have called who lost, or who won, she called to congratulate. The other day, I was jogging with an old friend from Western Uganda there. He told me he has a construction company, and he got a contract, and people in the ministry are trying to eject him, you know, use power and influence and kick him out. And a friend said, let me take you to Anita Among when she was speaker. He takes him there, and Anita calls the PS and tells him, no, speaks in Lusoga. By the way, Anita Among speaks so many languages. She speaks Rutoro. Do you know that? Okay, Rutoro, because she worked in a central bank in Hoima. Okay, not so much Rutoro, but she speaks sufficient Rutoro to pass by. So she speaks in Lusoga with this PS, and the man's contract is restored. She never asked for anything. So I have talked to so many people and discovered, because I have a keen interest in Anita Among, keen interest, because I could see this person as meteoric rise. And I realized that she has very good interpersonal skills, hold a second, which make her a very powerful candidate, especially in an electoral college. If we put her in an electoral college right now in that parliament, she would still win. You can see this party still supporting her. So the final point I was going to make about Anita Among is that as she accumulated a lot of power, she was naive not to realize that Museveni would be scared, not by her intentions. She believed her intentions were pure and she would never threaten Museveni. But Museveni does not believe in intentions. Museveni's risk comes from capabilities. The capabilities she had accumulated created potential for her to be tempted in the future to use those capabilities to seek the presidency. And that's where I think her problem is.
Well, Honorable Salam, how are you watching the entire episode?
You know, it's shabby, very shabby. What is said tonight and what is said in the media and what we watch are counter to each other. This narrative keeps changing from the same mouth of my boyfriend here, Andrew Mwenda. I think he's talking too many things which come to nothing.
He's giving his perspective.
He's actually scattered. He's even lost the plot. Just ask it in simple terms. What are you trying to do? What is it that you're doing to this nation? Because this an ordinary Ugandan is wondering, what is it that you are doing? You have messed up the whole institution of parliament. You have messed up the speakership. You have messed up new members of parliament who have not even stepped in the chamber. You have confused the whole country. Everybody watching wonders what's happening. Is it really that which Andrew Mwenda is saying? This is a power play. It's not even about influence. It's about who holds the power of the other institution. If there was a Museveni family person who would get it, they would get it. They would be assigned.